Hi guys and girls, welcome back to Watch the Time. So today I've got in a Tissot, it's a Tissot PRX. Thank you to my main man Adrian over at Somewhere in Time for letting me borrow this watch. I kind of sort of had a little conversation with him. I saw his video. He did a fantastic job, by the way. I will leave a link to his channel. Please check out his videos as well as the review he did for this watch. Tissot PRX, a real throwback to the sort of retro style watch, integrated bracelet. I dare say this is the quartz version. You can get it is an automatic. I think it's the Powermatic or whatever they're using inside. But for me, I would struggle to justify getting it the automatic, just because the automatic is twice the price of the quartz. Even though everything else is the same, I'm not sure the pricing is done quite right. The bracelet on this is phenomenal, a thing of beauty, to be honest. They retail, I think they retail about £280, £290, which is probably the equivalent of about $400. It's quartz, but yeah, it's very, very well made, guys. Really happy to get this on the channel. So again, Adrian, thank you again. And guys, thank you to you for tuning back in. I do really appreciate it. So without further ado, let's get the camera turned around and get on with it. Hi guys and girls, so this is the watch. As you can see, it's the Tissot. Change the packaging. I'll let you decide for yourself. If you think that's a good thing, I'll let you know what I think about it a little bit later. But that's the outer sleeve. Inside you've got another box, more substantial. It does open up rather weirdly to sort of like a pop-up book. Not sure about that. There's a bit of bubble wrap inside. This is the watch. Let me just take everything out. So it comes with a really long model number. I'll go through it once, because it'll probably take me quite a long time to say it all. So it's T137 410 11 04100. Yeah, long old model number there. I had to take out 3 links. They fell down the bottom. I'm not going to fish them out. And Adrian had to also take out a couple. So yeah, I probably had to take out about 5 links for it to fit my wrist. Let me take it off this. Again, just a bit of cardboard really conformed to form the almost what you'd get for a pillow normally. I know they've done a lot of this stuff for the environment, and I do completely understand. Is it a step in the right direction? I'm not sure. So but yeah, in terms of the environment, I think given the current climate, given what we're going through and everything else, I think it's obviously a good idea. But this is the watch, the Tissot PRX as it's called, as I showed you the model number earlier. Inside it's running a quartz movement, and that's why you can see it ticking away. There's no sweep, given the fact it's not an automatic. All I could find for this is an ETA F06.115. That's the movement it's running inside. So everything you can see aside from the crystal is 316L stainless steel. So it's the high polished bezel, the case, crown, the case back, the sort of integrated end links, the bracelet and clasp, but the butterfly clasp is milled, so that's cool. All 316L stainless steel. Different transitions. A big part of this watch is brushed. There are little fine aspects of it that are polished, mainly the bezel though, that you'll see, and the little parts around the side of the case back, I think, has got a little polish on there as well. But yeah, that's generally the makeup of the watch. The case thickness of this watch is 10.7 millimeters. The case diameter, when you go from, I don't know, sort of around here to here, 10 to 2, or 8 to 2, excuse me, in and around there. The smallest part is 40 mil. When you go from the 9 to the 3, including the crown, that does become 43 millimeters. The lug width is a bit of a strange one, really, to measure. I'll bring it a little bit closer to the camera, because as you can see there, it is integrated. So what happens is it does go from 12 millimeters, but it flares straight out to here at 27.4 millimeters. So yeah, in terms of getting a different bracelet on there, it could be a problem. I'm not sure Tissot have released any more, but in terms of aftermarket straps, you're going to be a bit snookered. The lug to lug in the case is 44.5, but that does protrude quite some way, so it does become 51.5 millimeters. So yeah, just bear that in mind. Doesn't really hurt the way it conforms, because the bracelet is almost it's quite astonishing, the bracelet, to be honest, but we'll get onto that in a moment. The bezel, as I've said already, is fixed, and it is a high polished bezel. It does offer quite a nice contrast actually to the watch, given so much of the watch is brushed. The case back is screwed down, from what I can make out anyway. There's no nodules on there, but I'm guessing, but also doesn't look like it's pressed down either, so I think it's screwed down. Yeah, little bits and pieces. I'm knocking my camera over trying to focus on it. As you can see, it's got bits of writing. Yeah, and that's the case back. The crown is push pull, and it is signed. Let me turn it around so you can see the T, as you should be able to see it. But yeah, there's the T for Tissot on the signed crown, situated at the 3 o'clock. As I've said before, the strap material is stainless steel, and it has got push pins. There's also a half link on either side, just to help you get that sort of ideal fit, because given the fact it comes in a butterfly clasp, that isn't always possible. Fully milled butterfly clasp, as I've already said, engages nicely, lines up perfectly, no issues there. Not always the case with certain watches. And just double buttons. If you press the double pushers, it will open it back up for you. The crystal covering this dial is sapphire crystal. It just looks like a bit of flat sapphire crystal covering that beautiful blue sunburst dial. But let me give it a wipe. Sorry guys, my grubby fingerprints have appeared to get on the dial also. I do apologise. The water resistance to this watch actually was a little bit of a surprise. It's 100 meters, so that's 10 atmospheres of water resistance. I wasn't expecting that. I would have been expecting a maximum of 50. So yeah, 100 is much appreciated. And the weight will appear in the top right hand corner. It's in around 126 grams, sized up for my wrist. So if you had all the links back in, it's probably, I don't know, 140-ish grams. So yeah, decent bit of heft for a dress watch. But let's have a look at the dial now, guys, in a bit more detail. So what you've got a minute track going around the outer edge. You've got applied battens everywhere. You've got a double batten at the 12, a slightly smaller batten at the 3, making way for the date window. And obviously, like, the date window is situated at the 3 o'clock position. Just below the double batten at the 12, you've got Tissot 1853 in script writing on the dial. And just above the single batten at the 6, you've got PRX, just denoting that's the range of watch it is. As I've said, I don't know if I've said this before, it does come in an automatic as well, but the price is double. So if I was buying this, I probably would also opt for the quartz piece. Given the fact it's a quartz piece, it does hack. It doesn't hand wind obviously, but it does hack. I'll show you that in a moment. The blue sunburst, as you can see already here, it's really, really nice. It's playing with the light nicely. Gives you different sort of shades of blue, almost into black, as you move the watch around. So it just sort of, yeah, it's a little stunner, to be honest. If I take the crown out, which I will, it will hack. Let me put it to sort of around here. That's where I like to go when so you can see the dial a bit better. I'll put it all the way back in. I'll take it out now to the first position. No, I went. And then I should be able to change the date. Yeah, pretty seamless. As you can just scroll through to whatever date you want to put it back in. Obviously, when you're doing the dates, it won't hack. That's pretty common with any movement you use. But yeah, that's the dial, guys. That's the functionality, and that's what you get. And the lume on this, excuse me, actually isn't bad for a dress piece. The lume on this is actually, yeah, pretty cool. The problem is a lot of times you get dress watches, they put lume on and they're pretty garbage, to be honest. But with this one, they've done well. So yeah, the lume's pretty good. But let me just pop it on the wrist for you guys. Let you see what it looks like on my wrist. My wrist is just above a 7-inch wrist. And you'll see what it looks like on me. You'll have seen earlier as well what it looks like in daylight conditions. And it is actually a really nice watch. I can see why this watch sort of caught fire and people were buying it in their droves. Because yes, it's a very nice watch, very retro, and looks the business, to be quite honest. But yeah, so that's the watch. Let me just give it a quick wipe, and then we'll crack on with the things that I think are pants and pucker about the watch. And as you'll know, if you've ever watched this before, I always start with pants. I like to go on a high with pucker. So what I think is pants about the watch is the strap options in terms of, don't get me wrong, I'm going to talk about it in a moment, this bracelet is a thing of beauty. But if you wanted to try and put it on something a bit varied, like a rubber or a leather, there's not a huge amount of options available to you. And you can't just buy ones off the shelf or aftermarket, because it has to be so exact, because it's not just a normal lug width. So yeah, the strap options could be a problem, and the packaging I'm all for us being more careful and thinking about the environment and stuff, but compared to what you was getting before, I think the packaging's a bit substandard, if I'm honest. The pop-up book coming out, yeah, I don't need to have that in my box. The boxes you used to get with Tissot before were pretty outstanding with the books at the back, nice little compartments either side. That was beautiful, and I think that was also part of the experience for people buying a Tissot. So I feel like that's a bit of a drawback, if I'm being honest. So yeah, just they're the only two things I've got for now, guys, because I think this is a little beauty. So I'd go with the strap options or lack of, and packaging in terms of what I think is pants. What I think is pucker, the dial, no surprises, I mentioned the dial. That sunburst dial is phenomenal. I do like a sunburst dial. I had it on the Matic recently, didn't like it as much just because I didn't think it belonged on there. But on dress watches, there's not really a time that I don't think a dress watch won't benefit from a sunburst dial. I think it works on so many different levels. The sapphire crystal, you know I'm always going to mention sapphire crystal. The bracelet, for me, the bracelet is the real star of the show. This thing, the way it just, watch this, it is just phenomenal. It is just the brushing on it, the tolerances on it, the way it conforms, the way it's engineered. Tissot have done a phenomenal job. I'm not saying they're the first people to do bracelets like this, but they have done this extremely well. That bracelet is something else, I'll be honest. And even on that, with that being said, and like I said, on the bracelet in terms of the links, the half links they put on there, one on either side, that you can use to get the perfect fit. That is much needed on a watch where you got a butterfly clasp, because obviously if you don't have half links, you can quite often struggle to get the watch to fit you. So that's a very nice addition. So well done, Tissot. And the fit and finish of this watch, in terms of, like I say, the brushing, like I said, there's a fine line between getting that brushing right, because it's quite aggressive, but it's so consistent, and they've done such a good job throughout the whole watch in terms of the way they brushed it, the way everything fits together. You got quick release pins on the bracelet. Yeah, for 200 odd quid, this is a very, very cool watch, finished to a very high standard. And like I said, I do like that polished element that you get from the bezel, and it also looks like there's a bit of a chamfered polished edge going through. Again, just little bits of contrast, it just screams a bit of quality, to be honest. So yeah, the fit and finish is definitely something to behold. And just to surmise, so I'll just go through those things again. So I'd go with the dial, I'd go with the sapphire crystal, the bracelet, the half links on the bracelet, and the fit and finish in terms of the things that I think are pucker. And would I recommend this watch? Yeah, definitely I would. This watch is beautiful, guys. I've got to say, they do sort of like a waffle dial on the automatics, which is also looks pretty cool. But my biggest drawback to the automatics is the price. I think they've got the pricing wrong. I'm not sure that the automatic should be so much more expensive than the quartz. Definitely a bit more expensive, but when you can get two of these watches for one automatic, I think there's something a bit wrong there personally. People might disagree, that's fine, but that's my opinion. But yeah, I definitely recommend this watch. I will leave you a link taking you to where my man Adrian bought it from on Ernest Jones, so feel free to go over there and show them some love, but also do look about and see what price you can get this for. But the price, given how popular this watch is, does seem pretty settled. I think it comes in about £295. I don't know what I'm not sure what that is in terms of euros and pounds. I will leave it up at the moment. But yeah, do shop about and see if you can get it cheaper. But guys, let me know what you think about this watch, and maybe any other watches you may want to see on the channel. And as always say, don't forget to like and subscribe, and always watch your time. Take care, guys. All the very best.